Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
We're all good?
Yep.
Good to hear. Hello everybody, how are we feeling? Good. Good? How are we feeling?
Good.
Who called that out? Who was that? No, come on, who called it great? Come over here. Put in the action, you get paid. Do nothing, you get paid nothing. True?
Oh, thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. How are we feeling, folks? Absolutely. Up the back. I'll reward you later. No bribes here. No bribes at all. I'll have that back later. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a choice today, didn't we? Our choice was to be here or be somewhere else. True? Give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight. See, average people live average lives because they're only willing to do average things. True? Average people live average lives because they're only willing to do average things. How have you found the day so far? Fantastic. Thank you. Let's give Conrad and the team a round of applause. How many of you have heard me speak before? Hands up. Okay. Hands up if you haven't heard me speak before. Hands up if you're not going to put your hands up. Hands up. Thank you. Did I look good on the DVD? Oh, fantastic. I look better in real life, don't I?
Absolutely.
Thank you. How many of you are scared of the stock market? Can I see a show of hands? Who's scared of the stock market? Thank you. When it comes to the stock market, there's many strategies, as you all would be aware. But what you need to understand is this. When it comes to the stock market, there's two sides of the stock market. 95% of people will put money on the stock market with no guarantee of a return. We call them speculators. Whether they're trading stocks, options, forex, commodities, E-minis, futures, warrants, whichever it is, we call them speculators because they'll put money on the market with no guarantee of a return. True? Then there's the 5% who actually put money on the market and earn a return on that up front, creating the market. How many of you would like to create the market and earn an income up front irrespective of market direction? Absolutely. So what you need to know is 95% of people will speculate, put money on the market with no guarantee of a return. Now you may think, well, the strategy that I'm trading may give me 50% overnight. But what you also need to know is you could lose 50% overnight. When it comes to creating the markets, irrespective of market direction, if we had to put money onto the market, we are guaranteed a return up front. How many of you would like to earn a return up front for the amount of money that you invest on the stock markets? And that's what it's about. Today, that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how we create the markets and earn an income up front. What's more important to me is this. I'm also going to show you our results. How many of you would like to see our results over the last 5 days and see how we've been performing, the good, the bad, and the ugly? And also how I've been performing over the last few months with my personal account. Would you like to see that as well? Yeah. Because what's important to me is, irrespective of whether I present this strategy well or not, I believe results speak for themselves. What we have here is a strategy that's a low-risk strategy that pays consistent returns every month, irrespective of market direction. How many of you would like to earn a return every month consistently, irrespective if the market is up today or down today, or up this month or down this month? And that's what it's about. Now, the purpose of this strategy and the reason why this strategy works well with Property Direct is this. If I can show you how to earn an income, even if it's $300, $400, $500 a month, how many more properties can you purchase? Think about it. So how many of you right now, let me ask you a question. How many of you right now have about $3,000 to $5,000 sitting in your bank account doing absolutely nothing? Hands up. Fantastic. What's the bank paying you right now? Next to nothing. But let's say what? 4, 5, 6%? If that, you'd be lucky. But if we're saying 4% or 5%, is that per month or per annum? Per annum. But how would you like to be earning that on a monthly basis? Every month. See, a lot of people think that when it comes to the stock market, we need a lot of money to invest. And yes, you do need a lot of money to invest if you want to look at retiring and stopping your work. But if we can start with a small amount of $3,000 to $5,000, let's say, and get your feet wet to learn, and for you to learn a strategy that pays consistent returns, who would be interested? Absolutely. And that's what I'm going to do today. Because when it comes to this strategy, I believe it's a matter of let's get in there and get our feet wet. Wouldn't you agree? Yep. And if I can show you how to earn a 3, 4, 5, 6% return, if not higher, on your $3,000 to $5,000 on a monthly basis, can you start utilising that income and buying more property? Because if we buy a property that's negatively geared, how much are we putting in on a monthly basis? $200, $300 a month? $400 a month? Well, if I can show you a strategy that we can start this week coming and start earning you an income, how many more properties can you purchase? With the team of Property Direct and their criteria and sourcing properties for you, and I can show you a strategy that's going to pay you income every month into your account, do we work hand in hand, folks? Absolutely. And then you have Warren Black who does the accounting and the taxation and minimisation. Can that help you as well? And it all works. And that's what it's about. See, what else? The other thing that's very important to understand and realise is this, ladies and gentlemen. This weekend is not about you having to fork out any money out of your back pocket or investing in anything. What it's about is taking a distinction from this weekend, walking out of that door tomorrow night and doing something with it. Because let me tell you something, a lot of you have got pens and paper, you're making notes, which is great, but how many of you are going to take action? See, we always go and take notes and do things, don't we? Then we walk out of the room, we go back into our home, we go back into our JOB, and then we get complacent, don't we? And most times, we do absolutely nothing. Unless you get off your backside and take action, folks, you're not going to get anywhere. True? Who agrees? Because let me ask you another thing. How many of you have a dream, a vision, and a goal right now? Hands up. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now, how many of you are going to live that dream, that vision, or that goal? Good. That's what I want to see. Because how many times do you have a dream, a vision, or a goal, and you go and you speak to someone and you say to someone, hey, I've got this idea, I'm going to run with it, and someone says to you, you can't do that, it's too hard. Or I know someone that's done it, didn't work, and they're very negative, thank you. And you go, shit, yeah, they're right, excuse the language, and you go, yeah, I'm not going to do this. But then you find out that somebody else is doing the exact same thing and making an earning and making a living out of it, true? Why have you allowed somebody else's opinion become your reality? Why have you allowed somebody else's opinion become your reality? You've allowed somebody else to control your temperature. If you have a dream, a vision, or a goal, run with it irrespective. If we fall down, what do we do, folks? We get back up that one more time. Because allow me to ask you a question. Does failure exist? Who says yes, hands up? There's no right or wrong. Well, I'll correct you shortly. Who says failure doesn't exist? Hands up. And the rest of you, you're not going to put your hands up, are you? Okay. Let me ask you a question. When we were 12 months old and we were learning how to walk, we crawled up to the coffee table, the couch, we did what? We lifted ourselves up, we let go, we fell on our asses, we hit our heads, we cried, and what did we do again? How many times did we do it? Until we started walking. I never saw one of you crawling in today. Which means, guess what? You all succeeded, didn't you? Now, as kids, we're sitting in our backyard or at the park, we look up at a roof and we go, I want to get up there. And your parents or someone, an adult says to you, you can't get up there, you can't do that, it's too risky, it's too hard. What do? Go to the garage, grab that bloody ladder, put it up against the roof wall and climb up, don't you? Someone says you can't do that, what did we do? Prove them wrong as kids. Why don't we do it now? Failure. We're scared of failure. We're scared of what other people are going to say. We don't have the right team to guide us. We don't have the education. We don't have a mentor, true? That's why it's important, folks. And that's why I say when you come to these events have a purpose. It's not for you to outlay anything. It's for you to take a distinction from this weekend and walk out and do something with it. How many of you, as of Monday, are going to do something from the information you learnt this weekend? Hands up. And that should be all of you, folks. Thank you. Now, are you ready for me to show you a strategy that pays consistent returns every month banked into your account? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Let's get started. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. See, you've got a choice. Life or death in 2010. What do you choose? Life. Absolutely. Folks, I'm 34, but I look 24, right? Right. What's funny? I finished school in 1992. I didn't qualify for university or TAFE. I went straight into a JOB. Parents of European background. See, my father worked long hours. He'd get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, catch 2 trains, 2 buses to get to work at 6 o'clock, do a 12-hour shift, catch 2 trains, 2 buses, come home, have dinner, go to sleep and do that 6 days a week. I grew up knowing my mother because my father was working, my mother was working at home, and my mother was at home and she, raised us. My father never drove, and all he said to me is, son, work hard and invest in property. Never trade the stock market. Because how many of you know someone who knows someone who knows someone that's lost money on the stock market?
Yeah,
absolutely, right? So in 1993, when I left school, I didn't qualify for university or TAFE, I went straight into a JOB. I worked hard. In 1996 to 99, I bought 5 properties. In 1999, I go to buy property number 6. The bank says to me, sorry, George, we can't give you any more money. I go home, I'm upset. My father sees me and says, what's wrong? I said, Dad, I can't get that house. He says, I know what you're going to do, son. Go get a second job. I wasn't after that answer. But when you don't know what you don't know and you don't know it, you can't teach it, right? So I thought there's got to be a better way. So anyway, I started going to these events in Sydney. I went to my first event, stock market speaker up on stage teaching about the stock market. Great, this is what I want, cash flow. I invested in the first program. Then second program, third program and fourth program. Invested over $40,000 to lose $70,000 within the first year. All 4 taught me how to speculate. Not one taught me how to create and earn an income. So they all taught me, put money on the market and hopefully if the market goes in your direction, you'll make money. Hopefully. I lost $40,000. Well, I didn't lose it. It was an investment for me. But I lost $70,000 on the markets. In late 99, I knew there was money to be made in the stock markets. Folks, can people make money on the stock markets? Yes. Are people making money on the stock markets? Yes. Can you make money on the stock markets? Yes. Absolutely. And that's what my attitude was. So instead of staying down, I got back up. Sitting on a train going to my JOB, sitting next to me is a magazine. On the back page is all about this seminar. I learned about cash flow, stock market. So what do? I get to the office, pick up the phone, ring up, book a seat, get home. I said, honey, you're not going to believe this. I said, there is an event coming on, I want to go to it. She said, on what? I said, the stock market. She said, over my dead body. She said, well, you've got all those things. We know what's happened there. You don't need to do it again. It's not for you. I said, honey, I promise I'm just going to go and listen. I won't invest in anything. She made me promise her, and I did. I get to this event, folks, all these different speakers up on stage. Nick Hallett comes on and talks about share lord. And he says, guess what, folks? You either speculate, 95% of people will speculate, 5% will create and earn an income. What side do you want to be on? I was like, whoa, didn't know that existed. In fact, I didn't know you could rent shares. And that's what I did. So I invested, folks. I get home. What do you think my future wife said to me?
Hello, darling.
No, that's what I said. I said, hello, darling. She said, what have you done? Anyway, I'm still here today. I cut a long story short. But anyway, I started investing, folks, with ShareLord in late 99. I had $10,000 left in my account. My wife said, utilise that. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, accept the stock market's not for you. Let's move on. I said, honey, I'm happy to do that. In late 99, I started investing with ShareLord. In 2003, I retired at the age of 28. Took me just over 3 years. Now, I started with $10,000. A small amount, consistent returns, compounding it. Folks, can you do this? Absolutely. Absolutely. I then bought some childcare centres, and then I sold those childcare centres. I don't need to go into full depth with regards to that. But what happened with me was this. In early 2007, I sold the childcare centres. In middle of 2007, Nick Hallett, who mentored me, said, George, I've got to go to Russia and do some training. I want to become a cosmonaut. I've got my final year of training. I need someone to come on board and work with me. Someone that I can trust, someone that I know. We've been really good friends. We've built a good relationship in 7 years. I've mentored you. Can you come on board? I said, I'm happy to. So I came on board with ShareLord, folks, to present ShareLord and run the mentoring team. Right now, that's what I do. I travel around the world. I present this strategy. In fact, in 2 weeks' time, on the 17th of February, I'm actually flying over to the US to talk at the Robert Kiyosaki event. There's about 3,000 people there attending that event. I believe we are in stock market speakers are there talking about this strategy in the US. And I'll cover shortly as to why this strategy really works well. So how many of you would like a low-risk strategy that pays consistent returns every month irrespective of market direction? Where you allocate no more than 5 minutes a day with an average of 30 to 60 minutes a month. My students in the room, am I true with what I'm saying?
Yes.
Folks, what's important is this. I have my students in the room that you can speak to. Because what I believe is this. You speak to the students and ask them and have their opinion as to what they think about the strategy. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. But I believe results speak for themselves, and that's what I'm going to show you. So right now, folks, for me, the reason why I love this strategy so much is it gives me cash flow. But let me ask you a question. Does money make you happy? It doesn't. You can have all the money in the world, but it doesn't make you happy. But does it give you choice? Yes. Absolutely. How many of you would like choice? And that's what it's about. Because I'll tell you something. For me right now, what's important to me is my family and family time. It's not about living in fancy houses and having everything, wearing fancy clothes or driving fancy cars. I don't do any of that, folks. That's not me. What's important to me is my family time and spending time with my family. I work from home. I'm at home. I get up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I have my family there. I can see my kids. I can do the mentoring with my students. I can stay in my pajamas all day if I need to. And I can enjoy my children. How many of you would like to be able to do that and have the choice? And that's what's important to me. Because how many of you know, how many people do you know that wear more money on the outside than what they do on the inside? They want to look good and try to play the part, but realistically, they've got no money. And they don't have the right mindset. What's important is having the right mindset. Who cares what you look like on the outside? Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. Now, this is my family. My kids and my wife. What's important to me is this. My little girl had said to me, Daddy, I want to go see fish. 3 days later, up the Great Barrier Reef. How many of you would like to be able to do that? Just drop everything and go. Not worry about having to put holidays in, speaking to your boss, can I take the time, do I have the money to do it? Now, folks, I don't say this to impress you, but I say it to impress upon you what's available to you. My little girl was turning 4. She had a little birthday party. It was at a park. It was just close family and friends. There was about 80 of us. She said, Daddy, I'm having a fairy party. I want you to wear fairy wings. I said, honey, I'm happy to wear fairy wings for you. I get to this park and there's a group of guys playing football. I'm the only bloke wearing pink fairy wings. The looks that I was getting from these guys, I tell you, if I walked towards them or away from my friends and family, I wouldn't be here right now. But let me ask you something. Money doesn't make people happy, true? In August last year, my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. We go to the doctor sees her results, she wasn't feeling well. Doctor says, Mrs. Fokas, unfortunately you've got cancer, it's in the pancreas, it's spread to your lungs and your liver, you've got 6 to 12 months to live. August last year. My father, my brother, myself and my mother are in the room. My father and brother reacted. I responded. Nothing against what I'm saying about them, but they got upset. 95% of people react, 5% respond. Of course we're going to react. But what's important is this. We will do whatever it takes to help our family, wouldn't we? Whatever it takes. And when you have money, you have choice, don't you? So I did whatever I could for my mother as well as my father and my brother. We all tried to do whatever we could. On the 2nd of January this year, my mother passed away. From Christmas night up until the 2nd of January, we were at the hospital with her. I lost my mother on the 2nd of January. No matter how much money we have, it doesn't make me happy. I wish I had my mother with me right now. There's a picture of me and my mother just before Christmas, and that's a picture on the 1st of January 2010. My mother in hospital, unconscious, taking her last breaths. And that's my mother, folks. So the reason why I say this to you is this. What's important is to have choice. Because no matter how much money we have, it does not make us happy. Because let me ask you a question. Where's the most expensive place on earth? Oh, you know the answer, Marie. You shouldn't have said it. Oh, folks, the most expensive place on earth is the graveyard. Why? Of all those unfulfilled dreams. And this is why I ask, how many of you have a dream, a vision and a goal? And how many of you are going to live that dream, that vision or that goal? How many people have a dream, vision, goal and never do anything? They retire and they die and they've never lived that dream, that vision and that goal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important for you to take action and get off your backsides to live that dream, that vision and that goal. I also teach a group of children in Sydney. How many of you have children? Hands up. It's important. Let's educate them. Who hasn't got children? I won't tell you yet what I think I should say, what I'm going to say to you. But how important is it to teach our children, folks? Does the education system teach our kids the value of a dollar? Did it teach us the value of a dollar? No. What did it teach us? Go to school, get good grades, go to university, get high-paying grades, and get a high-paying job to do what? Pay more? Tax. Keep us in the rat race. Wouldn't you agree? Most of you right now would have one pillar of income in your lives, and what's that? A job. I have 8 right now. If one of those pillars collapses, am I still earning an income, folks? Absolutely. And that's what's important for you. It could be property, it could be internet, it could be personal development, it could be stock market. But what's important to you folks right now is a matter of building your pillars, getting off your backside and taking action. Taking something from this weekend, we're talking about property, we're talking about stock market, take something from this weekend, get out there and do it. Don't get complacent. Now these are some of the things that the kids have said. I'll read you this to you. It says, "Hi George, I'm Montana. I go to War Stars. Thank you so much for your talk this month. Your enthusiasm and time is appreciated. These strategies are easy, and now I have my mum and dad hassling me to teach them as well. They have seen the account and the income we are creating, and they want in. My dad has had shares for a long time and has never done anything with them. He laughed when I told him he could rent them out. He thought you and I were nuts until I showed him my account. Expect a call." Guess who rang me 3 days later? Now let me ask a question, folks. How many of you in here have shares on the Australian market right now? Hands up high. Wow, nearly half the room. Keep your hands up if you rent your shares. 5 of you out of probably about 80 of you. Why aren't you renting your shares, folks? In fact, let me ask you a question. You have shares that you bought that you're sitting on. Irrespective of whether they're higher than what you bought them for or lower than what you bought them for, can you rent them out? Can you earn an income? Absolutely. Self-managed super funds or superannuation. Can you utilise a self-managed super fund and start investing and buying a parcel of shares and renting them out to earn an income consistently every month? Can you do that, folks? Absolutely you can. Because let me ask you something. Your superannuation right now, where is it? It's down, isn't it? Are fund managers still being paid? Irrespective of whether they made money for you or not, they still get paid, don't they? Brokers, do they still get paid irrespective of whether you make money or not? Who's the most educated and most important person in the world? You. If I can teach you a strategy where you take it on board and you have all the information and all the education to be able to do it on your own, is that important to you? And you don't have to rely on anybody else but yourself. It's important to all of us. See, because irrespective, fund managers and brokers, whether you make money or not, they still get paid. And look at your superannuation. Now, those of you that have shares on the Australian market or whichever market and you're doing nothing with them, I want you to picture this. You've gone out and you've bought 5 investment properties and you keep them there and you don't rent them out because you didn't know you could rent them. And you're waiting for the capital growth. And later on down the track, I come along and I go, okay, who's got investment properties? And you put your hand up and I go, who's renting them? And I say, guess what? Irrespective of what you bought that house for, you could put a tenant in there right now and rent it out and earn an income. How many of you would go, yeah? Now, if you bought that house for $500,000 and it's now worth $400,000, do you have a physical loss? Folks, do you have a physical loss? You haven't sold it, have you? So irrespective of what it's worth, can you still earn an income by putting a tenant in that house? Yes. Those of you holding shares right now, whether you bought BHP at 53 and it's now 39, can you still rent it out to earn an income? If you bought it at 53 and it's now worth 39, have you lost anything? No, you're still sitting on it, aren't you? But how would you like to earn an income consistently irrespective of what it's worth right now? So whether those shares are down or up, who cares? You're sitting on them anyway, aren't you? What have you got to lose? Nothing. But money on the table that's left on the table that you're missing out on, true? And I ask you the question, how many of you got $3,000 to $5,000 doing absolutely nothing? How would you like to start earning an income on it? Every month. Now what I'm going to do today is also show you a comparison between the Australian market and the US. Now we invest on the US markets. How many of you are scared of the US markets? Hands up. But let me ask you a question. If I said to you right now in far north Queensland there is a property paying 16%, or here in Brisbane it's paying 4% per annum, who would invest in far north Queensland? Let me ask another question. Who wouldn't invest in far north Queensland? No one. Okay, or one person. Why not? Is the process the same? Do we still need to go to a bank to organise a loan? Do we have to get a building inspection, talk to a solicitor, look at the property? Is the process the same? What's the difference, folks? Location. The process is the same. Whether you utilise your strategy on the Australian market or on the US market, the process is the same. What's the difference? Location, distance, that is it. So if I can show you a strategy that pays you triple the returns in the US compared to the Australian market, how many of you would be interested to learn it? Great. Now, this is the Dow Jones. What's the Dow Jones doing at the moment? Coming down. Is it still in an uptrend from 1990? So what happens in the Dow Jones is this. It does a little jog, and then all of a sudden it sprints. And then it comes down for a breather, and then it sprints again. And then it has a heart attack. That's in 2007. Now, when the US market catches a cold, the Australian market catches meningococcal. Did we see a bounce last year in the markets? Are they coming down for a bit of a correction? Absolutely. Can we still make money irrespective of whether the market is up or down? Consistently every month? Yes. See, folks, what we teach you is a low-risk strategy that pays consistent returns every month irrespective of market direction. We're not speculating. Now, I find this very funny, and I kept it in here. I deal with a lot of American students. How many of you have heard or know that Americans believe we've got kangaroos hopping around our cities? I am amazed. Surely by now they would know that it's not true, but they still ask me. Speaking to one of my students, Kevin, he says, "Hey, George, Kevin, how you going?" I talk to him on Skype. I say, "Hey, Kevin, good." He says, "Hey, you got any kangaroos in your backyard?" I go, "Actually, Kevin, yeah, there's one eating the grass right now." I said, "I'll turn my Skype camera on and you can have a look." He says, "Really? Yeah, that'd be cool." I said, "Kevin, you know what? When you come to Australia, you can go to the Sydney Opera House, hire a kangaroo for an hour, jump on its back, it'll take you around the city and bring you back in an hour." He goes, "Really?" I go, "Yeah." I said, "Kevin, I'm sending you an email." "Oh, okay." I sent him this. I'm still amazed how Americans believe we have kangaroos hopping around our cities. That's okay. How many of you would like to make money from the Americans? While we sleep. See, we invest in the US market, folks, during the day in Australia. Is the market closed over there? Yes. When we're asleep, what's happening to the markets? They're trading. We get our Z's while we make money. And that's what it's about. Because we don't need to be sitting in front of a computer watching charts and screens when the markets are open. That's for the speculators. How many of you would like to do this strategy 5 minutes a day, anytime during the morning, day or night, and earn a consistent income every month? And allow me to show you some examples today to prove it to you. In regards to regulatory licensing, I'm actually accredited under an AFSL license to talk to you. I'm going to give you general advice, not personal advice, but I'm here to talk to you about this strategy. Now let's get acquainted. At Financial Freedom Institute, we're professional investors and wealth strategists with over 19 years' experience. We are the authors of one of the best-selling stock market educational programs. Anyone can Google our name and find thousands of search items with regards to our integrity, honest reputation, and the strength of our best-selling stock market education. We've personally mentored and educated over 160,000 students globally. And our company is the foremost leader in educating clients to trade various strategies. But today, what I'm here to talk to you about is a low-risk strategy that pays consistent returns every month, that works hand-in-hand with property, where I can show you how to start generating an income and utilising that income to buy more property. How many of you right now have some equity in your house? Could you utilise some of that equity and start investing on the stock markets? Could we also insure our capital, folks, to protect that capital that you have? Folks, absolutely. How many of you would be more comfortable to know that your capital is protected up to 99% and invest in the stock market utilising a low-risk strategy to pay consistent returns? Because see, folks, this is all I do. With my house, it gives me equity. Equity that gives me cash that I put into the stock market, which gives me more cash to put into property. How many of you would like to do that cycle? And that's what I do, folks. I love property. But for me, the property market is a long-term vehicle. The stock market is my cash flow vehicle. If someone tells you, invest in the stock market for 3 to 5 years, the stock market is not a long-term vehicle, folks. The stock market is cash flow. Now, how many of you have heard of Nick Halleck? A few of you have. I'll tell you a little bit about Nick Halleck. Nick Halleck is a very savvy and astute investor. He is my personal mentor. And Nick Halleck basically generated all his income from the stock market. In 2003, Nick Halleck went down to the Titanic. How many of you would like to go down and see the Titanic? A few of you? I think it would be a good idea, something really nice to see. But picture this, 6 hours in a 2-metre submersible, sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Spending an hour and a half down the bottom of the ocean, 6 kilometres deep, and then spending 6 hours to come back up with no toilet. In 2003, Nick wanted to be a cosmonaut. He is the first Australian civilian to become a qualified cosmonaut. Russians call them cosmonauts, Americans call them astronauts. No difference. In 2003, Nick went to Russia to do his part-time training. And in 2008, he had to do full-time training, and that's where I came on board. What do you think the investment is, folks, to become a cosmonaut? For those of you that know it, don't call it out. $30 million to become a cosmonaut. Not a bad investment. But when you have choice, who would like to be doing that? Yeah, a few of you. Now let's look at financial reality. We've been programmed to have one source of income in our lives, and what's that, folks? A JOB. Most of us have one pillar of income. And if you don't start to make plans or goals for your future, you're going to fall into somebody else's plans. And who's that? Your employers. Now I'm going to show you some photos. Some of them are a bit nice. So hopefully you haven't eaten it and your stomach's not going to get upset. But this is a real JOB. Think about it. Rexona, right? Let's just use Rexona as an example. Someone's got to test it to see if it works. Don't they? Think of the Beijing Olympics. Now, I'm scared of heights. I love that, but I can't look at it. Someone's got to do it. And look at the poor bloke on the left. Poor bloke on the left's trying to do some work and the guy on the right's stopping him. How many of you feel like this on a Monday morning? You get to your job and it's like, oh, kill me now. That is a real job and someone's got to do it, folks, and I'm going to change it. And that's what we call financial cancer. Now, the US economy grew at 5.7% in the last quarter. Irrespective of what the economy is doing, can we make money in the US market? Yes. Absolutely. Share market set to gain 19% in 2010. Do you think the markets will go up eventually? Yes. Irrespective of where they are right now? Yep. Those of you sitting on shares, whether they're down or not, you're holding them, aren't you? You've got nothing to lose. You haven't sold them, so there's no loss. So let's start earning some income. Brisbane houses are going up in value. Isn't that good? It means more equity. And what can you do with that equity, folks? Reinvest it. And that's just an opinion. That's my opinion. You've got opportunities there. Now, the prices tipped to rise in Brisbane rental market. Is that good for us when we're investing in property? Yes. Absolutely. Is that more money in our pocket? Yes. To do what with? Reinvest. Please don't say shopping. Now, why does the stock market exist? For those of you that haven't heard this, I want you to write this down. The stock market exists purely and solely to transfer vast amounts of money from the uneducated to the educated. That's why the stock market exists. Purely and solely to transfer vast amounts of money from the uneducated to the educated. And in regards to the stock market, folks, I simply do this. I do the exact polar opposite of what 95% of people do. Because what do the herd do, folks? What everyone else does. I simply do the exact polar opposite. 95% of people will speculate. I want to create the markets. Irrespective of market direction, I want to earn an income. How many of you would like to earn an income consistently? Absolutely. And it's all about living in Profitability Street. How many of you would like to live in Profitability Street with me and my beautiful students here? Now, let's look at Share Lord. Can I get you all to say Share Lord? Share Lord. Louder. Share Lord. Fantastic. What does a Share Lord do? In fact, let's look at what a landlord does. A landlord does what? He buys a house, he or she buys a house and does what? To who? To a tenant. And the tenant does what? To the? You're all good. Trick question. For those of you that know the answer, please don't call it out. Who controls the property? Come on, folks. No right or wrong, just throw them at me. Not the landlord. Not the banks. Who said the tenant? Thank you, sir. The tenant controls the property. Who lives in the property? The tenant. Who controls it? And for the tenant controlling the property, they do what? They pay rent to the landlord. We as landlords, do we need to know who our tenants are? No. Well, we do really. Whether it's us or the real estate agent, we need to know. Otherwise, you're going to do hydroponic experiments and you're probably going to do it with someone else. Or convert a 2-bedroom into a 3-bedroom? Thank you. When it comes to the stock market, do I need to know who my tenants are? No. So what happens is this. When we're landlords, we need to know who the tenant is because we need to do checks to make sure they don't vandalise or destroy our properties. But when it comes to the stock market, do you think they're going to vandalise our shares? No. What happens is this. We own the shares. We create contracts, which gives us the income up front, and we give those contracts, we become market makers, we give those contracts to the stock market. The stock market then gives it out to whoever wants to buy them. Now, how many tenants do you think are out in the market wanting to rent our shares right now? Stacks, thousands. Absolutely, and I'll show you shortly when I show you an example on the US compared to the Australian market. Do I need to know who my tenant is? No. Do I get paid up front, money banked into my account the next trading day? Yes. Am I a happy camper? Yes. Are you a happy camper? Absolutely. Now, let's look at what we mean by share lord. Now, on the Australian market, we have to buy a minimum of 1,000 shares to allow us to rent one contract. How many shares? 1,000. On the US market, we need a minimum of 100 shares to allow us to rent one contract. How many? 100. Now, let's just say I buy a stock on the US market called ABC, and folks, not the childcare company. And let's say we buy it at $20, and let's say I agree to rent my shares at $20. Now, this agreement price here is called a strike price. Can I get you all to say strike price? And what happens is this. I agree to rent my shares at a strike price, an agreed price with the tenant, whoever they are. What it means is this. At the end of the contract period, which is within the month, if my shares at the end of the month are above the agreed strike price, my broker will take my shares and hand them over to the tenant and convert my shares into, starts with C and ends with ash, cash. If at the end of the month, my shares are below the agreed price, I keep the shares, I keep the rent, and what do I do the next month? Rent them again. Simple? Okay. So I agree to buy the shares at $20 and I rent them at $20 and the tenant pays me $1.20. Folks, if I've outlaid $20 to buy the shares and the tenant's paid me $1.20, what's my break even? $18.80. Ladies and gentlemen, have I just shown you how to go into the market and buy shares wholesale compared to the uneducated who buy it retail? Have I now got $1.20 buffer in the market automatically, straight away? How many people go out to the market and go, I'll buy ABC at $20? And then the stock the next day goes to $19.50 and they go, shit, it's gone down. What's my break even, folks? The stock price is what? Have I got a buffer of $1.20? Absolutely. Have I earned an income up front banked into my account? What can I do with that income? Reinvest it, whatever I want. Pull it out, do whatever I want with it. True? Very simple and easy strategy. If the stock at the end of the month is above the agreed strike price, we hand the shares over, the broker does it automatically. If it's not above the agreed strike price, we keep the shares. In essence, folks, the strategy is very simple and very low risk. Let's cover what we mean by share lord. We purchase a parcel of shares, how many on the US market? 100. And we rent our shares out to tenants who are speculators, trading a specific side of the market irrespective of market direction. The tenant has the right but not the obligation to purchase our shares during the month at an agreed price, which is called a strike price. We receive the rental premium into our account the next trading day. How many of you would like to earn that income up front? Yes. We rent our shares on a monthly basis, bless you. We rent our shares on a monthly basis, allowing us to generate massive cash flow every month. How many months per year in Queensland? Not a trick question. Good. Still 12. Thank you. So in summary, folks, we buy a parcel of shares in lots of 100. We rent them out to millions of tenants. If the stock price is below the agreed price, we keep the rent and the shares and we re-rent again the next month. If the stock is above the agreed price, the tenant takes the shares, gives us the cash value back. If there's any capital gain, we'll make some capital gain, but we also keep the rental, and then what can we do? Find some new shares and do it all over again. In essence, the strategy is very simple. So let's look at the Holy Grail. We create the market generating upfront rental premiums with 100% certainty because we earn an income. We purchase the stocks at a wholesale price against the uneducated who purchase at retail. A financial blueprint where we provide you with the education to find the best stocks to invest with. Just like Property Direct will tell you and guide you on finding the best properties to invest with, we do the same with the stock market. with consistent returns of, would you like to know what we generate consistently every month? Yes. How many of you would like to know? Hands up. For the rest of you without your hands up, close your eyes. Between 3 to 9% every month. How many of you would like to earn between 3 to 9% every month on your investment? And utilise, now, can I buy some insurance, folks, to protect my capital? Can I use some of the rent money, which is somebody else's money, to buy insurance to protect my capital? Yes. Absolutely. The fastest, most safest, lucrative cash flow strategy to pay off your home mortgage. How many of you have a home loan right now? Would you like me to show you a way maybe you can possibly pay that off a bit quicker? I'll give you an example of Barbara and Richard. Barbara and Richard, I always show this example because it's a great example. Barbara and Richard had $190,000 owing on their home loan. They took out a line of credit of $40,000. Now, is a line of credit potentially a tax deduction? Is it a cost of doing business? Yes. The interest at the time for them was 9.7%. Is that per month or per annum? Per annum. How much do they owe on a month? How much do they owe on a home loan? $230,000. The interest at the time when I was speaking to Barbara and Richard on this particular example, the interest was $1,287, but I'm going to say $1,300. I'm just going to round it up. That's the interest on the whole home loan. Per month. On $40,000, they were averaging about 5.5% to 6%, but on $40,000 at a 5% return, what can you earn on $40,000 at 5% on a monthly basis? How much is the interest per month? How much is the interest on the whole home loan? What are they earning on the line of credit that they took out? What are they left with? Folks, it starts with P and ends with Rofford. Anyone? What can they do with that? Reinvest it. Now, I'm not saying, folks, you need $40,000 right now to do this. This is an example. But do you have $5,000, $10,000 where we can start earning a small income, get your feet wet into the markets, build some confidence, and start utilising the income that you're earning off that money and start paying off your home loan, a credit card, a bad debt, or start investing into more property? Could you potentially do that, folks? Absolutely. There's 2,500 stocks that we choose from. There's over 10,000 stocks on the US market. We look at the top 2,500. 100 shares equals one contract. If we had 500 shares, how many contracts, folks? 5. If we had 600 shares, how many contracts can we rent? 6. These are monthly contracts, and we know there's 12 months in a year, with returns between 3 to 9% per month. Now, before I even show you this, the US market, so you know, the US market makes up 86% of global markets. The US market is the prime driver of all markets. Australia and New Zealand makes up less than 2% of global markets. We are a very small player. Our banks and our institutions here in Australia, where do they invest? In the US. So where do you want to be investing, folks? In the US. Now I've taken this little page here off the ASX website. I don't allow my students to use margin, folks, and there is a reason for it. Now, some people will tell you could use margin and leverage. How many of you have heard the term leverage? I personally don't like leverage, and that's my personal opinion. Other people will have their opinions to use leverage, and they will tell you that it's safe, and that's fine. But in my opinion, straight off the ASX, I'm going to read this to you. Not all securities can be bought on margin. Buying on margin is a double-edged sword that can translate into bigger gains or bigger losses. In volatile markets, do you think we're in volatile markets at the moment? Yes. In volatile markets, investors who borrow from their brokers may need to provide additional cash if the price of the stock drops too much or rallies too much. Now, I want to make this clear to you. I want you to listen to this point. Brokers are allowed to liquidate a position even without informing the investor. If you're in a position and your position goes down and you've got a margin call or you've got a margin on it, the broker has the choice, if for whatever reason they think it's going to keep going down and you don't have the money to cover the margin call, they can close your position without even telling you. How does that make you feel? I would be a bit scared if I was in that position. So I personally don't allow my students to use margin for at least first 6 months. Get your feet wet with the amount of income that you've got, the amount of money that you've got to invest, and stick with that only. Because what you'll also need to understand is this. We invest in the US market, we have our funds in the US, folks. We are subject to currency fluctuation once. We transfer our money over and it stays in the US, and we trade from the US and our money stays there. When you want to transfer the money over, you transfer it over and you're subject to currency fluctuations. Is that clear? We're not leaving money in Australia and transferring it over every time we place a trade, because guess what happens then? It costs you. And some brokers will tell you to keep your money in Australia and do that. Why? because some of them earn an income off it. Whereas what we do is this, we transfer our money over, it stays there, we're subject to one currency fluctuation, that is it. Now let's look at the Australian market compared to the US. There's 1,000 shares to one contract, 75 stocks that are rentable on the Australian market, about 7 stocks really worth renting. Typical returns are between 1 to 2%. In this current market, volatile market, it's a little bit higher, and I've picked 2 high stocks for the Australian market to show you comparison. Low liquidity, stock prices range, most of the stocks that we rent in Australia range from $22 to $60. A $30 stock requires a minimum of $30,000. That would be your minimum investment. I mean, how many of you right now have $30,000 or $22,000 sitting in an account going, hey, I'm just going to put it on the Australian market and give this a go? But if I said to you, how would you like to start with as little as $3,000 to $5,000, is that a better entry point for you? Absolutely. Average rental periods on the Australian market is about 10 months per year. You can't always find a tenant. It takes weeks to set up an account on the Australian market. And brokerage on average is between $40 to $105. On the US market, we need a minimum of 100 shares to one contract. There's 2,500 stocks to trade from. A $30 stock requires a minimum of $3,000. Is that a better entry point for us, folks? Absolutely. Rent 12 times a year, always find a tenant. It takes 15 minutes to set up an account. I mean, let me ask you a question. How many of you would like to get started this week? Open an account and start learning this strategy. I'm not saying put money into the market, but start learning this strategy. We can do that as of Monday or Tuesday. Brokerage for us, full brokerage is $14.95. The rental returns on our shares is between 3 to 9% per month. And that's the reason why we don't do the Australian market. Now let me show you some examples. I copied this morning when I was at the airport at 6 o'clock this morning. Let's look at 2 trades on the Australian market and 2 trades on the US market. Are you ready for this? I want participation, folks. The first stock is called Oil Search. How many of you have heard of Oil Search? Yep. Okay, let's look at Oil Search. What is the last price of Oil Search? Okay, so what we do, folks, is this. We look at buying a stock, and then we look at a strike price that's close to the stock value. Is that okay? So when we want to rent it, we want to rent the stock. If some of you want to go away and look at the ASX and have a bit of a play with this, I'm giving you some information now. When we're looking at buying a stock, we will look at the stock price, and then we're looking at renting it at a strike price that's close to the stock price. Now, these are the strike prices here. What's the closest one to the stock price? That's the stock price. There's your strike prices. What's the closest? Okay, so what I'm doing is this. I'm going to buy Oil Search at $5.26. Now, what do I need as a minimum? How many shares do I need on the Australian market? 1,000. Now, if I buy 1,000 shares on the Australian market, what's my outlay, folks? $5,260. Good entry point? Now, how much is the tenant paying in rent at $5.25? We look at the bid column. How much is the tenant paying right now? 19.5 cents. So if the tenant is paying us 19.5 cents, times that by 1,000 shares, what is my rental income for the next 4 weeks? $195. $195 on my $5,000 investment. Now let's take our brokerage. How much is brokerage on the Australian market? Let's say about $80 on average. Okay, full service broker, it's about $80 to $100. Let's take our brokerage of $80. $80 to buy the shares and $80 to rent the shares. What's my brokerage in total? So minus 160 in brokerage. What am I left with, folks? $35. Who's got a calculator to do $35 divided by $5,000? It's less than 0.1%. Great strategy on the Australian market, folks? No. So brokers and investors here in Australia will tell you you need a minimum of $20,000 to make it feasible for you. Reason why? Eats into your account. Now let's have a look at BHP. How many of you know BHP? Only a few of you. Okay. Maybe we should jump on the internet and look at BHP and what they do. Now, BHP is trading at what price? What's the last price? $39.40. If I buy a minimum of 1,000 shares, what do I need to outlay? $39,400. That's your minimum investment right now. Now, what's the closest strike price? $39.50. Is that the closest, folks? Yep. You all okay with that? $39.50 is the closest strike price, up or down, $39.50. Now, how much is the tenant paying in rent? Now, the figures that I have there are gross figures. I haven't taken brokerage into account, but I want to show you this. So, if the tenant's paying $1.31, times that by 1,000, equals how much in rent, folks? 1,310. If brokerage is $160, what's my net profit? 1,150? Okay. 1,150 on my $39,000 investment is about 1.9% return. Still not a bad return, comparing what the banks are paying per annum to what you can earn on a monthly basis, true? So if people are sitting on BHP doing nothing right now, could this be a nice income for you on a monthly basis? If you've got a minimum of 1,000 shares. So can you see how this works on the Australian market? You all okay with that? Let's have a look at the US. At the top is a stock that I found this morning. What's the last price? Okay, so $38.20. If I bought how many shares do I need for the US? 100. If I bought 100 shares, what's my minimum investment, folks? How much is the tenant paying in rent right now? Bless you. At what strike price would I rent it? I've highlighted it anyway, at $38. How much are they paying in rent? $230. Times that by 100 is $230 in rent. Not a bad investment for the next 3 weeks? You might say, well, $230 is not a lot. But how much are you outlaying, folks? $3,800. Hold on, we've got to take brokerage because we're going to do a comparison between the Australian market. It's only fair that we take brokerage. How much is brokerage on the US market? In fact, for our students, it's $12.95. So $12.95 to buy the shares and $12.95 to rent them is how much? $25.90. Let's just say $26. If I take $26 out of my $230, leaves me with what? $204. Who's got a calculator? 204 divided by $3,820. Someone with an iPhone or whatever wants to quickly do that and just yell it out later. Now, is that a good return on our $3,000 investment, folks? I wish I had another board, but let me just... Who wants to volunteer? Do I have a volunteer? Come on up, Ken. Hold this up like this. Make sure I can see your beautiful face, mate. Just like this. Thanks, mate. Now, let's do a comparison and let's do 1,000 shares with this same example. If I bought 1,000 shares at $38.20, what's my outlay, folks? $38,200, isn't it? Is that similar to BHP? Now, the tenant's paying me $2.30. Times that by 1,000 is how much? $2,300. You all okay with that so far? The brokerage is how much? What's my net profit? How many of you would like to earn $2,274 on a $38,000 investment? Same time and effort. Or on $39,000, earn $1,100. $39,000 to earn $1,100 or $38,000 to earn $2,000. What's your better investment, folks? Same time and effort. No difference. The only difference is different markets. Ken, thank you very much. Just put it on the floor, mate. 5.3%? So 5.3% is our net return. How many of you would like 5.3% banked into your account up front for 3 weeks doing absolutely nothing other than placing the trade and earning the rental? And what can you do with that? Now, let me ask you a question. I know most of you, or some of you, may not have $38,000 just to put into the markets. But let me ask a question. Can I use some of the $2,200 to buy insurance to protect my capital? Absolutely, I can. But how many of you work hard for this $2,274? How hard do you think I work to earn that for 5 minutes? I just told you. 5 minutes. 5 minutes for 3 weeks to earn this income. How many of you would like to be able to earn that income? And can we use some of that income to live off it and go buy another property? Absolutely. Now, whether my shares go down in value or go up in value, have I earned that? I mean, how many of you are sitting on shares right now and the value is irrelevant to where you bought it and where it is right now? Could you still earn an income? Absolutely. Let's look at the next stock, folks. TSL is the stock. It's priced this morning at 6 o'clock when I took a copy of that was $22.26. How much is the tenant paying and what strike price am I renting it at? $22.50. How much is the tenant paying in rent? $1.20. If I outlaid 100 shares, I bought 100 shares, what's my outlay, folks? 2,226. Do you all follow so far? If I just got to buy 100 shares at $22.26, it's going to, my outlay is 2,226. You all okay with that? The tenant's paying $1.20 times that by 100 is $120. How much is brokerage? Okay, so 120 minus 26 leaves me a net profit of $94, doesn't it? You're probably thinking, well, not a great return for 3 weeks, but look at your investment. If I was to buy 1,000 shares at $22,260 and I'm earning $1,200 in rent minus my $26, do you still have that calculator? Yeah. Around a 4% return. How many of you would like a 4% return after brokerage banked into your account up front? 4% or 5%? You have a choice. Can you see how this becomes very powerful? Now, think about this. You've got a self-managed super fund that's gone down, or you've got a super fund, that's gone down. Fund managers are still being paid. Could you speak to Warren and possibly set up a self-managed super fund depending on your own personal circumstances? I'm not telling you, I'm just giving you as an example, as a possibility. Set up a self-managed super fund. The fund managers right now are losing you money. What have you got to lose if you set up a self-managed super fund and start utilising this strategy? What have you got to lose right now, folks? Nothing. Because you can earn an income consistently every month, and we can also insure it and protect it for you. Why aren't fund managers protecting your capital right now? They can hedge those positions and protect it. Why aren't they? Exactly right. Most US retirement accounts only allow the share renting strategy to be transacted. This strategy is the only share strategy the US government wants you to do in a 401k. I'll explain what that means. In Australia, we have what we call a self-managed super fund, which means we manage it ourselves. You all okay with that? In the US, they call a self-managed super fund a 401k. It's just another name. This is the only strategy the US administration allows the Americans to utilise with their 401k. What does it tell you about the strategy? Folks, what you need to understand is this. There is risk in everything we do, true? And I'm not saying every single stock goes up. But what I'm saying is if we can protect our capital and minimise our risk and still earn an income, is that a possibility for you? Absolutely. Now, let me show you one of our trades. Let me just quickly go through one of our trades last year that actually did go down. I want to show you an example of what we do when a stock price goes down. I want you to start from the top and we're going to work our way down. The stock was trading at 55.69. This was one of my trades, 55.69. If I bought 1,000 shares, what am I outlaying, folks? 690? Okay, I bought the stock and I rented it out at what strike price? It's up there, 55. And the tenant paid me how much in rent? $4.20. So $4.20 is what I earned. Times that by 1,000 shares is how much? $4,200 on my $55,000 investment. Not a bad return? At the end of the month, well, in fact, before I go there, what's my break even? If I buy the stock for $55.69, the tenant pays me $4.20, my downside protection break even is what? Okay, at the end of the month, the stock price closed at what price? $47.24. Is it above or below my break even? Ooh. So what do I do on Monday when the contract expires? Re-rent it. So what do? I go back into the market and I re-rented it, and the tenant paid me how much? $4.05. Which gives me another how much for the month? Premium, folks. How many of you would like a $4,000 return on your 50 grand investment every month? On your 55 grand investment every month? Now, my break even was 51. I now received a new income. What's my new break even? Where did the stock close at? Is it above or below my break even? Is the stock below my break even? Below, isn't it? Ooh. So what do I do on Monday? Re-rent it. So I go back into the market and the tenant pays me how much to re-rent the next month? Gives me a break even of what price? Now I agree to rent the stock at a set strike price, and then the stock closes above that strike price, which means I get my capital back and I've earned a return. Meanwhile, what was the stock doing? How many of you would like to be able to do that in 3 months, hold a stock, get your capital back and still make money on it? and the stock's going down. Absolutely. Let me show you our averages for the last few months, since May. Our average return since May is 7.5% for the month. Our average for June was 5.4%. Our average for July was 6.8%. Now these are just averages, not our top performers and not our worst performers, our average performers. Average for August was 5.7%. Now calculate these returns, folks, and what you can generate. In October, 7.5 was the average, 6.4 for November, in December was 7.8, and in January was 4.8. Now, how many of you would like to see our results over the last 5 days, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Every single one. Monday to Friday, every recommendation we provided. We do one a day. Would you like to see them, folks? Absolutely. On Monday, we recommended this particular stock, and we had a break even, which is up the top, which is just there underneath. What's the break even for this particular stock? So what I do with my students is I say every morning when you wake up or during the day, you work out what your break even is, and then every day all you do is you compare what the stock price is today to your break even. How long do you think it'll take you to do that? Yeah, let's say 5 minutes. So you turn your computer on, you log into your account. I do it off my phone because I've got internet on the phone. I go, right, my break even is 57. Where is the stock today, as of today? Where is the stock? Is it above or below my break even? Do I need to do anything? Have I earned an income? Yes. Tuesday, we provide another recommendation. There is the break even. Where is the stock right now? Is it above or below? Do I need to do anything? No. Wednesday, we provide a recommendation. You go, right, I'm going to do this trade for 3.5 weeks. It's paying 4.9%. There's your break even. Where is the stock? Thursday, we provide a recommendation. It says, hey, I'm going to pay 4.2% for the month. I've got a break even of $23.93. Where is the stock right now? Friday, we provide a recommendation. Where is the stock right now? Above or below the break even? Do I need to do anything, folks? No. Now, irrespective of whether those stocks are above or below right now, because they're below, let's say they were below our break even, does it mean they're going to be below next week? Does it mean it's going to be below the week after? We don't know. Have I still earned an income? Can I pull that money out and do whatever I want with it? I mean, those of you sitting on shares right now, well, you've outlaid the money, you own those shares, you've got the piece of paper and you're doing nothing with it. But all I come in and say, hey, I'll give you an extra $1,000 if you've got BHP every month. How would you like that? Irrespective of what they're worth, whether they're up or down, there's the income. If you went out and you bought a house and the property market comes down for the year and your house is now worth less than what you bought it for, you have no physical loss, do you? Is the tenant still paying your rent that you can take out and pay the rates, the electricity and all that sort of stuff? You can utilise that income, can't you, folks? Same with the stock market. Now, these are my personal trades since September. I did a trade with 10 days to go on 39 grand. I did this particular one trade. He paid me $1,200. That was a 3% return. Am I happy with that? Absolutely. In October, I earned 6%. In November, I did 11%. I didn't trade in December and January because I pulled money out of the US because of mum. Because my priority was looking after mum. See, a lot of people think that, especially for me, I just sit on this pile of cash and I do nothing with it. Folks, I don't sit on cash. My money is invested. Whatever I have, I invest. I don't sit on cash because it's doing nothing. It's pointless. So I pulled money back from my trades because I needed to do a few things with regards to mum's health. In February right now, I've rented my shares, and there's the date there on the 19th of January. I've got 2 shares that I re-rented. It's paid me just under $5,000. $5,000 for the month renting my shares, not a bad return. That's just on 5% for me. It's all about living in Profitability Street. And just think of the possibilities, folks, and what this can do for you. And that's what we call Share Lord. Discover how to insure your shares so they can reduce your risk and sleep well at night. How many of you would like to be able to utilise your strategy but have that in the back of your head that you're still a bit concerned with the stock market? How would you like if I can show you how to insure your shares to reduce that risk? Now, like everything in life, we can't cover 100%. There is risk in everything we do, true? But if I can reduce that risk and cover up to 99% of your capital, would you consider it, folks? And that's what we do. Because those of you may be looking at retiring or something, you may have $40,000. Could we start utilising that and earning $2,000, which is a 5% return, or even $1,500 and putting $500 towards the insurance? Is an extra $1,500 on a $40,000 bank better than nothing? Absolutely. Discover how to write an insurance policy for shareholders and get paid thousands of dollars. Do insurance companies right now make money, folks? Yes. Absolutely. Would you like to write insurance policies on the stock market and earn an income? Yes. Because when we buy insurance for our shares, we don't go to an insurance company. We buy them from savvy and astute investors just like myself who write insurance policies. We teach you how to write insurance policies for share lords who want to buy insurance to protect their capital. Now I'm going to show you what we can earn up to right now for the next 3 weeks writing insurance policies. Up to 23% is what we could earn writing an insurance policy on your investment. How many of you would be interested to earn that income? Absolutely. See, people who just go out and buy shares and do nothing with them, we call that gambling, blindfold investing. Because you'll only make money when they go up, you won't make money when they go down, and you won't make money when they go sideways. Most people don't even know that these strategies exist, and stockbrokers won't tell you because some of them don't even know themselves. All the features and benefits of a true dream business, no staff or customers, in fact, no one but yourself. Because what you need to understand is this, folks. When it comes to ShareLord, there is no software, there is no black boxes, it's all done on the internet. How many of you have access to an internet? Can you have access to an internet anywhere in the world? You're global investors. You don't need a computer, you don't need software. You can do it anywhere. You can do it off a mobile phone. You can go to your next door neighbour and knock on the door and say, I want a place to trade. You can do it anywhere, folks. Profit potential, low risk and stress-free business, no age requirements, does not involve physical labour, time and location totally flexible, recession and depression proof, and something you must educate your children. Now remember I asked who's got children and who hasn't got children? Who hasn't got children, hands up. Find some. Let's educate them, folks. For those of you with children, please, let's educate them. Let's teach them the value of $1. Because I'll tell you something, I won't allow my little girl to go work at McDonald's. Now, nothing against kids who go work at McDonald's because they're getting off their backside, that's a good thing. But I don't want my little girl getting abused by people like me. So it's important to teach our kids the value of $1 and how to make $1 into 2. Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. Very low overheads and very low starting capital. Now, this is Olive Wallace. She's my oldest student. She's in Perth, Western Australia. She's 81 years young. In 2007, in September, she came up to me, she said, George, I'm investing with ShareLord. I don't own a computer and I've never turned one on. Can I do this? I said, Olive, absolutely. Olive right now is averaging between 5 and 6%. Her health is not the best at the moment, but she's doing this. She got off her backside and she took action. How many of you are going to get off your backsides to take action? Whether it's with this or Property Direct, whatever it is. Like I said, this event, the purpose of the 21st events is not purely to have you outlay anything. It's about taking something from the event, taking a distinction and running with it, whatever it is. If Olive Wallace can do it, can't you? Absolutely. Now, who could use these strategies right now in their lives? Absolutely, all of you. Great. Now, let me just show you a couple of the testimonials. This is Jaden. He's my youngest student. He's 7. Jaden's dad sitting in the room is one of my students as well. David, you don't mind if I get you to stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, give David a round of applause. David right now is building his pillars. He's got ShareLord, he's got his internet business, and he's going, George, I'm going to go with this full on. And I congratulate him for it. I speak to him on a daily basis during the day and at nights. He texts me, he Skypes me, we talk every day. He said, I'm going to get my son to do this as well. Are there any limits? I said, no. Teach your son. I'll mentor your son. Let's do it. Jaden last month, as per his email, and he's using David's email address, he earned $960 US for 13 days. He says, this is better than pocket money. This month right now, he's rented his shares. He's earned around $600 US. Irrespective of whether stock is up or down, has he earned an income? Seven-year-old boy with $600 banked into his account. Now, David said he's got $15,000 in his account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get him to play virtually with $15,000 and he's going to invest it. He's going to pick the trades. David, am I correct?
Yes, that's right.
He's going to pick the trades and he's going to trade it and I'm going to watch over him. And I'm going to mentor him. That's what he's doing right now, folks. Give him a round of applause. Well done, David. Now this is Sarah. I'm going to read you this. It says, hello, George. She says, I'm sorry for your loss, and that's fine. It says, it says, thank you for resuming your teachings. Anyway, it says, a little bit about myself. I've spent many thousands of dollars on courses in trading, and I should have blanked that out, but that's irrelevant, and your ShareLord. Obviously, I was extremely anxious at paying for yet another course and not making any money or even trading live. I was paralysed by over-information and fear. She said, I believed you when you spoke on stage at the 4-day event. You spoke from the soul and you had conviction emanating from you. You made me believe and try again. I took one of these certificates. I didn't even have money, but I found a way to pay for it. Whatever it took, this time I would succeed. I scraped and I got a small amount of capital together in my Options Express account. I've paper traded and was ready to free fall. She then went live. She purchased IAG at 16.12 and bought a January 15 call for $1.40. Today I have been exercised. This is on the day of expiry. I did not have a great deal of capital to boast a huge return on my trade. The main thing is that I finally traded, not just studying or thinking about investing, but I proved to myself that I can do it, and Sharelord writing cover calls works. Anyway, I just want to say a big thank you for sharing your knowledge and being accessible to those who really want to change their lives and be better than what life has given them in the past. That's Sarah. This is James. James is one of my students in Canberra, a property direct student. He came from Sudan with no English. He's been here for about 12 months. His English is very little. He can't really speak properly. But he sent me an email. He actually asked me to review his account. He said, I've made all this money. With what stocks? What's made me the money? So I reviewed his account. He says, thank you for reviewing my account. It is now 7 months from the day I started actual trading. It is very exciting to gain 20% return for 7 months on investment gross. I achieved this with your great assistance. Thank you very much. How many of you would like to earn 20% in 7 months, basically allocating 5 minutes a day with an average of 30 to 60 minutes a month, earning an income? This is Corinne, and she's in Adelaide. Says, hi, George. I hope you're hanging in there. You probably thought I've fallen off the wagon, but I've actually been trading and have not had a reason to hassle you yet. Fingers crossed that it all keeps going so well. I thought I'd just let you know. Now, that was sent on the 20th of January. In December, she did a trade there. It paid 4.7%. In January, she said, I spent the month in alcohol-induced blur, so lucky I wasn't trading this month. In February, she bought 2 trades, 8.7% and 3.5%. She says, going to go have a bash at doing renting and insurance. But she's asked me, she said basically, you know, if she needs any hands, that I'll be there for her. P.S. I'm loving this Sharelord stuff. Now, look at her title. I can't get enough action. So I've seen this email come in saying, I can't get enough action. Sharelord action, that is. And I thought, what's she going on about? Must have been, drinking again. But this is Rose. It says, hi, George. Sorry for the late reply, but I hope you had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. It's been great having you as a mentor this year. Thank you for your words of inspiration and motivation. The Sharelord strategy has been awesome. It's given me a new outlook on life, a really good one filled with freedom, and our favourite thing, cash. Happy Year brings you lots of, and thank you for the mentoring. So folks, what's important is to speak to my students in the room. Because for me, and this is the reason why I show you the results, and the reason why I actually show you the examples comparing the Australian market and the US so you can see it for yourself. I have no issues of you coming to see me and I can log onto my computer at the end of the presentation and to show you what you want to see. Because what's important to me is seeing the results there. Now, actually, I'll quickly read you this. This is Thomas. Thomas was one of my new students back in August, I think it was, or in September in Perth. And he said this, I sent him a Skype message asking how everything was going. He says, actually, I almost get the whole picture. He says, you are right. It's just a pretty boring and straightforward strategy. Because when I present this strategy, folks, I say it's a very boring strategy. If any of you want excitement, go to Dreamworld. This won't give you excitement, but what it will give you is cash flow. And that's what I personally believe. Let me just skip through these. No complex maths or difficult to understand jargon. Clients have used these strategies ranging from $1,000 up to 36 million. I have 2 students in the UK with £18 million. They started off with £18 million investing with Sharelord on the US market. 24 and 31, they came to me and they said, George, we've got £18 million, can we do it with this strategy? Absolutely. They average about 3% a month with protection. They've said to the investors, we will give you 1% every month and anything over and above that we will keep. Do your sums, 2% on 36 million. That's what they earn on average every month. 2 guys. I have students that have no money, but what they do is they go to their family and friends and say, hey, here is a strategy that pays income. Give me your money and I'll invest it. I'll pay you 1% on a monthly basis and everything over and above that I'll keep. Is that a possibility for you, folks? Absolutely. Can you do this? If anyone can, you can. And it's all about finding the path to financial freedom. Now, with the Sharelord education, folks, I mentioned this before and I'm going to mention it again. With the Sharelord education, we don't give you any black boxes, we don't give you any systems. We give you the education. Allow me to ask you a question. Would you prefer me to give you a car and say this is the only car you can drive? Or would you prefer me to teach you how to drive a car and you choose the car? What would you prefer? The second one. So a lot of people will give you black boxes and systems where you've got to pay monthly subscriptions and you've got to use that system, otherwise you go nowhere. What we do is this. We say, here is the education. We're going to teach you how to drive. Here is your learner's manual. We're going to hold your hand and teach you for the next 12 months. Go choose the car to drive. It's all done on the internet, anywhere in the world, on any computer or any mobile phone. As long as you can log onto the internet, folks, you can do this. Transfer your money, place your trades, do whatever you want, all on the internet. What we also provide you with for the next 12 months is recommendations. We will also teach you how to find and scan and find your own trades, but we'll also give you 12 months of recommendations. We give you a market wrap and recommendation every day. In the education, folks, knowledge is power. What we give you is 5 DVDs, 5 CDs and a manual. The CDs are a copy of the DVDs and a manual. How many of you right now have 5 hours to watch 5 DVDs and read a manual? To learn these strategies, to earn that income. 1 DVD a night, 5 nights, guess what, folks? We're up and running. That's all it takes. We don't give you 24 DVDs, 3 manuals, 32 hours of viewing, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll know what you're talking about. 5 DVDs, 5 CDs, and a manual. That's all it is, folks. You also get 12 months of recommendations. You get the share renting strategies, you get the underwriting strategies, the multiple share renting strategy, and more advanced trading strategies. Now, studies have shown the important fact about the achievements of most successful people. They had a mentor. How many of you would like to have a mentor? Someone who someone who took them under their wings and showed them the ropes. If you're looking for real guidance with all the questions answered from someone who's willing to share everything with you, I doubt you'll find many qualified candidates. Now let's be serious about this. How many of you would like to have a personal mentor teach you and guide you for the next 12 months how to do this strategy? And folks, that's what we're offering today with Share Lord. I have a team of mentors that we allocate to particular students. This year, that's what we're doing. You will have a personal mentor teaching you and guiding you, where they will hold your hand and you'll have access to them for the next 12 months. We're not talking about support, where you get a 1-300 number and speak to whoever. We're talking about giving you a dedicated mentor. Over and above that, how many of you would like to have a second mentor? Me. How many of you would like to have my personal mobile number where you can call me and speak to me and ask me your questions? But not only that, I'm also going to allocate a particular mentor to you, but I'll also mentor you as well. How many of you would like to have the 2 mentors and have access to me? Because I believe it's important. If you've got a question, you ring me. I carry this with me. You've got a question, you ring me or you text me. If it's outside normal hours, when it's night time, you can text me. I have no problem with that. And I'm happy to reply to you. If you've got a question or you're concerned or a particular trade or whatever, you contact me. Because what's important to me is this. You're hearing me speak, I'm presenting this to you. It's important for me to give you access to me as well. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Absolutely. As your dedicated mentor, and you're going to have 2 of them, you get dedicated support, email support, phone support, network access, and 12 months of recommendation and website access. As your mentor, I'm going to guide you. I'll talk about myself now. As your mentor, I'm going to guide you with your studies. I'm going to guide you with opening your account to trade. I'm going to assist you with your stock search, assist you with your stock review and analysis. I'm going to guide you on how to place your trades, how to monitor your trades, and you'll also have access to the mentoring team. By now, you want to be taking assertive command of your financial future where money is no longer a limitation, but a potent tool you wield with power and impact. Let me ask you a question. What's it worth to you to have someone hold your hand and guide you and teach you for the next 12 months how to utilise this strategy? What value do you put on it, folks? You see the results. It's not like I've just put up an Excel spreadsheet and I've just made up some figures and I've said, oh, here is a loss and here is a gain. I've actually shown you real trades and the students here can vouch for it. I've shown you our last 5 days, every single one of our recommendations. You've seen the trades that I've done. And I've given you 2 real examples comparing the Australian market and the US. And you're also going to have a mentor teaching you how to earn that income to be able to do more properties. How many of you would like to invest in property? I love property. Hands up. Absolutely. So utilising the stock market to earn an income, can we buy more property, folks? And that's what it's about. That's what we're here for this weekend. The full price, folks, is $12,995. That's the full price. If you came to our office, for example, and you said, I want Share Lord and I want a mentor, that's what you're paying. Otherwise, we don't give you a mentor. You don't get anything. You're on your own. Anyone can go to the office or go to the internet and do that, but You get nothing, folks. I'm telling you that right now. You get no support, no mentoring, you're on your own. Or would you prefer a mentor? Today's $5,995 plus postage and handling, and there is a monthly payment plan. So there's a monthly payment plan or $5,995. That's your investment. But if I can show you how to earn $2,000 on a $38,000 investment, what's it worth to you if you can earn that on a monthly basis? And could it be a potential tax deduction? Those of you with shares at the moment, it could be a potential tax deduction for you. The education. Is it a cost of doing business for you? Absolutely. Self-managed super funds. If you set up a self-managed super fund, can the self-managed super fund pay 50% of the education? Potentially, yes. Speak to Warren Black or to your accountant. For the first 18 people, I'm going to do this. I'll give you the Science of Trading for Profit, which is a psychology manual, written by Nick Halleck, talking to you all about psychology and getting the right mindset. Because most of you, if not all of you right now, think in the stock market and going, yeah, those figures look good, but I'm petrified to get into the stock market. The media's saying this, the media's saying that, I'm reading this, I'm reading that. So we get the mindset right, and that's the reason why we include the Science of Trading for Profit. As a bonus for the Home Study members, for those of you investing with ShareLord today, we're going to throw in the Time Rich program as well. That's Jamie McIntyre's Time Rich program, which is a brilliant program. For those of you that have it, have told me that it is a brilliant program, and you'll get that for free as well. And for the first 18 people, as a bonus, and I do this for a purpose, and I'll explain shortly, I'll give you $1,000 off. Instead of the $5,995 price, you can have $1,000 off that price, and it's $4,995. With a certificate, you can have it for $4,995. The ShareLord education are 12 months of recommendations and 2 mentors. There is a monthly payment plan for you as well. It's $1,835. The monthly payment plan is $1,835. And folks, family members are included. Your partner wants to do this, your children want to do this, they are included. There is no additional costs. Your investment is $4,995 plus postage and handling, or $1,835 over 3 months. Like I said, you fall on the ground, do you get back up? Do you get off your backside to take action? Or do you sit there in complacency in your comfort zone? My question to you is, if anyone is interested in ShareLord and would like a certificate, or wants to think about it and wants to look at taking action with ShareLord to start generating this income, come and grab a certificate. I've got 18 of them. You can come up now and grab one. I've only got 18 of them. And you can come and talk to me at the back of the room later on, and we can discuss this. Come up here. Yep. Welcome. I've only got 18, and I won't be offering it to anybody else outside of those 18, so just remember that.
Thank you.
Stay up here if you can. Stay up here. What's up? Thank you. Remember, family members are included in the $4,995 investment for you. Stay up here. Don't knock my folders. Come up here. Stand up here. Thank you. Okay. 4 more, folks. That's what I'm holding. If there's anybody else, come on up. There's 2 more. 1 more. Gone. Take that. And there you go, sir. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can you give the people standing up in the front of the room a round of applause, please? My apologies for having my back to you, but I just want to make a comment to the people standing up here. I congratulate you for getting off your seats and coming up here. Now you know what I look at. It's a big step to get off a seat and take action, especially in front of a room that people you don't know, and I personally congratulate you. My commitment to you is this. In a relationship, it's not a 50% per person. In a relationship, it's 100% one person, 100% the other person. I'm willing to give you my 100% attention, as well as giving you a second mentor to guide you and teach you as well, and give you my personal mobile number. I don't know many teachers or mentors that actually give their personal mobile number out. I'm going to give you my personal mobile number. All I ask is I need a commitment from you. If you are interested in earning that income, and we could earn that income as of this week coming, I'm willing to teach you this week, have an account open, and start paper trading and teaching you these strategies, irrespective of whether you got the education or not. If you are committed to this, I'm committed to teaching you this week, even without the education. Complete the form. We will get the education to you, but I'll get you started without even having that yet. That'll get couriered to you within a week. But even before you even get that, I'm going to start teaching you, have an account open, and get going. My commitment to you is I'm going to give you my personal time, my mobile number. I'm going to SMS you tonight. I will give you instructions, and I'm going to email you instructions. If you can action that, it's 15 minutes to open an account, and we're going to start paper trading this Monday or Tuesday. All I ask is complete a form at the back, and see Christine at the back. There is an enrolment form. Please, I need clear writing with regards to mobile phone number and email address, if that's okay. Because sometimes I get back to my room and I look at the number and I go, what the hell is that? So if you can please just do me a favour, complete the form. I'm more than happy to speak to you. I will get you the information tonight. If you want tonight when you get home, it'll probably be there. Give me a buzz, email me. Let's get started this week. That's my commitment to you. For the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for your time. I know it's getting a little bit late. Thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, I'll be at the back of the room. Thank you.